The Medici family, powerful, wealthy, popular, and successful godfathers of Italy, by Jessica Muller. Hello, the first thing I would like to talk about is the Medici family timeline. There are 25 Medici families, which ranges from the 13th century to the late 17th century. I'm going to briefly discuss who each one of these Medici family members were, and if or if they did not have an influence on the Italian history. Giovanni de' Medici was born in 1360 and was the praised founder of the Medici family bank. Although he was considered the founder of the Medici family dynasty, he was not born into a rich family. The little money he had was divided between 5 sons, leaving Giovanni with little, but still he prospered and was the first member of the Medici family. Cosimo de' Medici, also known as Cosimo de' Giovanni d'Agidi Medici, Cosimo the Elder, who was considered the founder of the Medici political dynasty in Florence and Tuscany. Lorenzo the Elder, born in 1395, was a younger brother of Cosimo the Elder. He was considered the founder of the De' Pompolani Bank of the Medici family. Piero de' Gauti, also known as Piero de' Cosimo de' Medici, born in 1416. He was the son of Cosimo the Elder and was the de facto ruler of Florence for 6 years. Pier Francesco de' Medici was the son of Lorenzo the Elder of the Medici cadet branch, and his sons were adopted by Lorenzo the Magnificent. Lorenzo the Magnificent, also known as Lorenzo de' Medici, born in 1449, was the grandson of Cosimo the Elder, while being a very influential statesman, diplomat, and political figure. Lorenzo il Pompolano, also known as Lorenzo de' Pierfresco, was born in 1463, and when his father died, Pierfresco de' Medici, his brother Giovanni, were cared for by Lorenzo. Giovanni il Pompolano, Giovanni de' Pierfresco, was born in 1467. He was a younger brother of Lorenzo il Pompolano and the grandson of Lorenzo the Elder. Piero the Unfortunate, also known as Pier il Facuto, born in 1472. He was the oldest son of Lorenzo the Magnificent. He was called the Unfortunate for a reason, because of his mishandling of King Charles' invasion on Tuscany and Florence, led to his exile from Florence in 1494. Due to this, the Medici family did not govern Florence again until 1512. Pope Leo V, Giovanni de' Medici, born in 1475. He was one of the 3 sons of Lorenzo the Magnificent. And it's interesting because he was born in the Republic of Florence and was the head of the Florence Republic. And even at his early age, he had an elastical career. He received the tonsure of the age of 7 and was soon granted rich benefits and preferments. Pope Cleombet, also known as Giulio de' Medici, born in 1478, he was the only son of Giulio de' Medici, and Giulio de' Medici was assassinated even a month before Pope Cleombet was even born. He was a cardinal for nearly 10 years before becoming pope. Giuliano de' Medici, born in 1453, was the second son of Piero de' Medici. As co-ruler of Florence with his brother Lorenzo the Magnificent, he complemented his brother's image as the patron of arts, and with his own image as a handsome, sporting, golden boy. Pier Francesco the Younger, also known as Pier Francesco II de' Lorenzo, was a Medici who was not part of the Florentine politics. He was just known as the father of Lorenzaccio de' Medici, who was assassinated by Alessandro il Moro. Lorenzo II, Lorenzo de' Medici, Duke of Urbino, was a ruler of Florence from 1513 until 1519. He was a Duke of Urbino as well as his daughter Catherine de' Medici, and she became Queen of France, and his son became the first Duke of Florence. Giovanni delle Bronde Nere, also known as Ludovico de' Medici, was born in 1498 and became the mercenary military captain, but was first employed as a merchant military leader. Alessandro de' Medici, born in 1510. Most scholars believe that Alessandro de' Medici was in fact the son of Giulio de' Medici, and a mulatto servant working in the Medici household. Scandalous. Alessandro's assassination by Lorenzo in 1538 led to the passing of hereditary power to Cosimo I, the first member of the junior or cadet branch of the Medici family to rule Florence. Cardinal Ippolito de' Medici, born in 1511, was the only son of Giuliano de' Medici. He was born in Urbino, and his father died when he was only 5. It has been said that Ippolito died from malaria, but also there are rumors that he was poisoned by Alessandro de' Medici, whose abuses he was intending to denounce. Cosimo de' Medici, Grand Duke of Tuscany. Cosimo was an authoritarian ruler and secured his position by employing a guard of Swiss merchants. Cosimo is perhaps best known today for the creation of Uffizi offices, which is a great patron of art found in Florence, Italy. Francesco I de' Medici, Grand Duke of Tuscany, the second Grand Duke of Tuscany. He was very interesting because he continued his father's patronage of arts and supported artists in building the Medici Theatre, as well as founding the Accademia della Crusca. He was also interested in chemistry, and he dabbled in amateur chemistry and alchemy schemes. Ferdinando I de' Medici, third Grand Duke of Tuscany. He was the 5th son of Cosimo I de' Medici, and he was made a cardinal in 1562 at age 14, but never went into the priesthood. He was proved to be an able minister in Rome, and he founded the Villa Medici in Rome, which acquired many works, including the Medici lions, which he brought back to Florence with him. Cosimo II de' Medici, Grand Duke of Tuscany. He was a Grand Duke of Tuscany from 1609 until 1621. He was the elder son of incumbent Grand Duke Anne Christina of Laurentia. He married Maria Lagardana of Austria and had 8 children. For the most of his 7 years of reign, he delegated the administration of Tuscany to his ministers. Ferdinando II de' Medici, Grand Duke of Tuscany, was Grand Duke of Tuscany from 1621 to 1670. He was the oldest child of Cosimo II de' Medici. His 49-year rule was punctuated by the beginning of Tuscany's long economic decline. He married Vittoria della Rovere, with whom he had 2 children, Cosimo III de' Medici and his eventual successor, and Francesco Maria de' Medici, Duke of Rovere and Montefeltro, a cardinal. Cosimo III was the next to last Grand Duke of Tuscany. He maintained the longest reign over Florence, 53 years, longer than any other member of the Medici family. Anna Maria Lucia de' Medici, was the older sister of the last Medici ruler Gian Gaston de' Medici. When he died in 1737, Anna Maria Lucia inherited the vast property of the Medici, including all of the art, furniture, coins. She willed that the Medici collection will remain in Florence forever, and it has until this day. You can not walk down the pathways of Florence without seeing an artwork by Medici family. Gian Gaston de' Medici, born in 1671. He was the last male member of the Medici family and died a little before Anna Maria Lucia de' Medici mentioned. Now that you know a little bit more about the Medici family and the 25 members, I would like to talk about the rise of the Medici family, because it was quite influential. If one were to visit the city of Florence today, it would be nearly impossible to walk up and down the streets without seeing the artwork created for the ruthless and powerful great first art collectors known as the Medici family. They did not just collect paintings and sculptures, but they changed the way of art itself. In Florence, it is impossible to walk up and down the streets without seeing their coat of arms. It is as if they have trademarked the city for eternity. They wanted the world to know that they were the kind of men that dealt in money. How does one family become the trademark of an entire city? The answer is power. The Medici family had the power and money to patron any artist they would like in the 15th century. Florence was blessed with this powerful family who came into ruling in the 1430s and became the de facto rulers of Florence for the next 100 years. The Medici family ruled proud as the princes of Florence, although the city was technically a republic at the time. The Medici was interested in the creation of art, but also very concerned with the personal fame and worldly prestige. Lavish, even ostentatious. Public display became more common, even as the fortunes of the city declined. The Medici family was able to use the power they had not only to give artists a way to show their talents, but also to gain the personal fame that will forever be embedded in every corner street of Florence. The Medici used patronage as a way of rulership and diplomacy. They patronized countless artists in their search for greater power, one artist being Michelangelo, the father and master of all arts. Michelangelo's talent was recognized by Lorenzo the Magnificent, who was part of the Medici family, as mentioned before in the timeline. So where he started studying classical sculptures in the Medici gardens. This was Michelangelo's first big break and permitted him to the success of the social elites of Florence, giving the Medici family the fame and power of being the patrons of one of the greatest artists to ever be. In my opinion, the Medici family had a great influence on art. They took artists who were unknown and maybe didn't have as much ability as they could have, and they took them in and gave them supplies and the power they needed to draw and show their talent to the world. Without the Medici family as patrons of some of the greatest artists such as Leonardo da Vinci or Michelangelo, we might not have the kind of art that we have today. It takes the power and the less powerful to combine together and create beautiful works of art, and that's exactly what the Medici family did. History.com states, and I quote, "In general, the later Medici line renounced the older generation's Republican sympathies and established more authoritarian rule, a change that produced stability in Florence and Tuscany, but led to the reign's decline as a cultural hub. After Ferdinand's son, Cosimo II, died in 1720, Florence and Tuscany suffered under influential Medici rule. When the Medici Grand Duke Gian Gaston died without a male heir in 1737, the family's dynasty died with him, by agreement of the European powers. Control over Tuscany passed to Francis of Lorraine, who was married to Habsburg heiress Maria Theresa of Austria. Would begin the long European reign of the Habsburg-Lorraine family. So although the Medici family's reign slowly faded after 100 years, they are still forever embedded in Florence. You see everywhere you look, you see art that they have patronized, and you see the artists and the great things they have accomplished. And it's all because of the Medici family, the 25 members of the Medici family who helped influence art and maybe other things in the Italian Renaissance that we are still not aware of. My work cited comes from the timelineflorence.com, history.com, and wikipedia.org. Thank you for listening.